Wow, what a story. What a story. And hearing it from your side too. That's awesome. Let's check this out.
Wife had a 1 year emotional affair. I reciprocate with 6 flings over the last 2 years. My marriage is now a battlefield. Hello, true story. I know this might be hard to believe after reading the title, but I am normally a faithful husband and 100% monogamous. I find myself in this mess because of my wife's actions, or rather, my inadequate response to her actions. In fact, I could have changed the title of my post with How I Became a Chad Without Even Trying. I tried to use humor, but I'm really in a bad situation, and it is anything but funny. Here's my story. My wife showed me a message she sent to you 2 or 3 years ago. I'm posting my version of the story so you can get things straight. I searched for her original post on True Story and later on True Story Epic, but I couldn't find anything. Maybe it's too old, or maybe you never read it. If you want to find it, the title of the message she showed me was There is Still Some Good Man Out There. Here's my version of the story, and believe me, it will be very different from the one you got from my wife. I'm John, a 58-year-old man. My wife is Helen, 55. If we make it to July 2025, we will have been married for 30 years. We have 2 sons, 28 and 25, and a 21-year-old daughter. Both of my sons are married and my daughter is in college. We met at the gym and dated for about a year and a half before getting married. We still went to the gym 3 to 4 times a week and maintained decent physiques. Everything was perfect. We loved each other, had a great sex life. We had a few disagreements and long discussions, but we never argued. We both have great incomes, paid off our house, and funded our children's college education. In short, we were the perfect couple with the perfect marriage. Life was good, and we had it all. But 4 years ago, my wife was promoted to VP and things started to change. She didn't mention this in her post, but she changed immediately after that promotion, and I noticed right away. She started skipping gym sessions with me, dressing more for work, buying designer clothes, jewelry, wearing more makeup, dining at fancy restaurants, and even bought a BMW. Her promotion seemed to get to her head. Suddenly, I didn't seem to be enough for her, and the life we had built together didn't seem glamorous enough. She was proud of her accomplishments and sought validation. She began telling everyone in our circle that she earned twice my salary, but that was an exaggeration. I'm a director of accounting, making 150K a year. My wife was making about the same when she was a director, but when she got promoted to VP, she went from 150K to 230K a year. A lot more than me, but not twice my salary. It should be good to note that all of her extra 80K went entirely toward her new lifestyle. I confronted her multiple times about her new mindset, but she kept telling me that she hadn't changed. She said that when she became a VP, she just felt the need to upgrade her image to fit her new role. At the same time, shortly after she became VP, she started talking about another VP. She referred to him as Paul in her post, and I'll continue to call him that here, so the post could remain enjoyable. Although in my mind, I will always call him a piece of crap. She said he was brilliant, commanding, had a great personality, etc. She was talking about him all the time during the first month of her new job. Finally, I said, maybe I should leave for the weekend so you can enjoy him. Don't be silly, she responded. You don't have to worry about him. We are coworkers, not friends. She never mentioned Paul again. It was as if he didn't exist anymore. I tried to bring him up casually, like, hey, how's Paul doing? But she always responded that she barely saw him at work. I was sure it wasn't true. I know my wife. After more than 30 years together, she couldn't hide anything from me. I was certain she had a crush on Paul, and I was starting to think it could be more. She also started distancing herself emotionally from me. And the worst part was, She thought I didn't notice. I was very attentive to any sign of an affair, but she didn't leave anything obvious. She wasn't secretive about her phone, didn't receive messages at odd hours, and her working hours didn't change much. I can't fully describe it. She just wasn't emotionally there. She was just going through the motions. I had to know for sure, so I started spying on her. I installed a GPS tracker in her car and upgraded our security system with spy cams in the living room, kitchen, and all 4 bedrooms. She had no idea about these cameras, of course. The outdoor cams were connected to our main security system and could be set to privacy mode, but the spy cams were linked to a cloud and were only accessible by me. After a week or two, I felt the need to get into her phone, but was unable to. So I bought her a brand new high-end phone to replace her old one. I pre-installed a keylogger on the new phone and I just waited for proof. I wasn't just waiting, I was bracing myself for the inevitable separation. I was preparing for the confrontation and for life after divorce. I started to distance myself emotionally too. I began training more intensely. Working out has always been part of our life. We'd always trained together 3 or more times a week for over 30 years, but now she was making excuses not to train as often. On the other hand, I started working out every day. I'd train before work on weekdays. There is a gym at my work, and on weekends with her at our regular gym. I was already in decent shape, but I didn't have the muscle volume and definition of my younger days. I was determined to build it back, even in my 50s. I decided to become more attractive. If it's good for her, it's good for me. I started wearing more expensive suits and fashionable men's clothing, and I spoiled myself with a new Mustang GT convertible. Women started noticing the new me and began to flirt. I timidly flirted back at first, but quickly got good at it. It didn't go beyond flirting, though. I wasn't ready to let go of my marriage, just yet. I loved my wife, and I had no proof of anything. At the time, I was still 100% faithful and monogamous, as I had always been throughout my life. The moment my eyes met my wife's, all other women ceased to exist. For me, it was only her. Everyone else was non-existent. But things weren't the same anymore. I was noticing other women, though I didn't act on it. I still hoped that everything would work out for my marriage, but I knew something was growing in the dark corners of her mind, and I was preparing myself for the inevitable separation. I was ready. The moment I got confirmation of her infidelity, I would be out of her life in a blink. She would never know what hit her. I monitored her for about 2 months, but didn't find anything. I was starting to wonder if maybe she was actually faithful. Then she announced that she had a business trip scheduled to London the following week. If she was going to cheat, this would certainly be the perfect opportunity. I didn't want to miss my chance, but hiring a private investigator overseas would cost me $3,000 plus expenses. So I decided to take the week off and go myself. 2 days later, I told her that the timing of her work trip was perfect. I could schedule my annual trip to Zurich around the same time, and then we could take some time off in London afterward. She looked surprised, but was okay with the idea. Later, she even said it sounded exciting, like a little escapade. She kissed me and said she noticed my improvements, my new car, my new body, and the care I had been putting into my clothing lately. I told her I needed to keep up with her improvements if I didn't want to be left behind. She responded that she would never leave me behind, never. We made love afterward. It was the best we'd had in a long time. I was confused. Were we all right after all? Did she really have something going on with that piece of crap? Did her emotional distancing have more to do with menopause or a midlife crisis than anything else? We seemed to rekindle our love. We'd always been sexually active, but in our 50s, it was 2 times a week at most. However, the week before the trip, we made love every day. I was happy and full of hope. She still loved me, and I still loved her. My marriage was as solid as ever, and her emotional affair was only in my mind. I had done all that planning and spying for nothing. Everything was already set for the trip, so I decided to go forward with it. She was supposed to leave for London on Wednesday and come back Sunday. I told her my Zurich trip was Friday to Saturday. We would leave together for London, and I would stay with her on Wednesday, then leave for Zurich the next day, and return on Sunday. Of course, there was no Zurich trip. I had initially planned to spy on her and catch her red-handed if possible. By that point, I was confident I wouldn't find anything, but I still needed reassurance. As planned, we left for London on Wednesday at 9 p.m. I much preferred traveling at night to Europe. Sleeping on the plane meant landing before noon, local time, having plenty of time to enjoy the day without much jet lag. We enjoyed our time in London. She was spirited and alive. It seemed like we had reclaimed our title as the perfect couple and were in love more than ever. I almost told her I wasn't going to Zurich. Almost. There seemed to be no point in backing out. She would be working most of the next few days, and if I wanted to put my suspicions to rest, now was the time. I hid a voice-activated recorder in the room, and I could use the laptop camera as a safety device to monitor what happened in that room, as long as she didn't close the laptop. She was scheduled to begin her day at the conference room of the hotel. The next day, Thursday, I went to breakfast with her and left her at her meeting. I said that I will text her when I arrive. Then I went to take my things and move to another room on a different floor. I didn't want the hassle of moving from hotel to hotel. Our room was on the 6th floor. My new room was on the 2nd floor. It should be safe for me to stay there, as long as I don't use the elevator. Since I could not spy on her in the conference room, I befriended a waiter of the hotel staff. He agreed, for a big tip, to film or take pictures of anything that looked compromising. He didn't see anything unusual. They were working all day. I was killing time in my room, not having anything to do, when he called me just past 4:30. He told me that they have just canceled their reservation at the hotel's restaurant, so they will certainly be eating outside. I asked him if he knows which restaurant they will be going to. No, he responded, but he will try to find out. 10 minutes later, he called me back, saying that I should hurry. They are leaving now, and they seem particularly happy. What do you mean happy? I questioned him. They seem to celebrate some success, so they asked for champagne and caviar in the conference room. I find my way to the lobby carefully so nobody can notice me, but I was too late. The waiter told me they were already gone. He then pointed me to a beautiful lady at the bar. She was with the group, he said, but did not leave with them. I went to the bar next to the lady. I didn't know how to approach her. Then I heard her order a glass of white wine. She was definitely American, so I introduced myself, said it was my first time in London, a lie, and I am glad to find a fellow American. She said that her name was Isabella, but I could call her Bella. After some small talk and light flirting, I asked her why she didn't go with the group. She responded that she had a plane to catch at 7:30 a.m., so she couldn't spend the night partying. Where did they go? I asked her. To the Covent Garden, she answered. A fine Indian restaurant near the museum. Why did you want to know? I told her that I don't know anything about London and just want a nice place to eat. You can eat here with me, she proposed. I was beginning to say no, but she insisted, saying that it's her treat. She will put the bill on her spending expense. So I accepted, and I asked for a table in a less visible spot. Why the secluded place? Are we having an affair? She teased me. No, I just like some privacy. The dinner went well. The conversation was effortless and pleasant. Then she started some heavy flirting with me. I have a plane to catch, she told me, but I wouldn't mind losing some sleep to share some pleasant time with a fellow American. I have been living in Ireland for the last year and never had an American D since then. I politely said, joking, that American Ds are the best and she looks amazing and all, but sorry, I am a married and faithful man. She responded that she figured that out already. You are Helen's husband, isn't it? She was looking at me and she started to laugh. I must have looked puzzled. You're so sweet, John. You ordered a vegetable soup and a chicken salad, so you're not in for the food. You are not attracted to me for my looks and did not try to hit on me, which is hard on my ego, by the way, so you want some information. Since Helen is the only woman in the U.S. team, you must be her husband. You suspected her of cheating, I presume. I stayed silent. I didn't know what to respond. She continued, I could tell you that you're probably right. She seems to be attracted to her colleague Paul, him on the other end. Seems distant and professional. So, I asked, is it possible that nothing is going on? Unlikely, she responded. The only thing to do for you is to even the score. So, what would you say if I invited you to my room right now? She was gorgeous, probably about my age, roughly between 45 and 55, but I intentionally said that I usually don't get involved with younger women, especially those under 40. You should have seen her smile. She just grabbed my head and pulled me over to kiss me. Her room was on the same floor as my wife's, so we ended up in my room. We made love for 2 hours straight. She was the first woman I had in more than 30 years. In fact, she was the third woman I have slept with. Everything was perfect. She must have come 3 or 4 times, and it was effortless. With my wife, our intimacy was always good, but I have to work hard to make her come. Don't get me wrong, I love intimacy with my wife, and I love doing extra to satisfy her, but this time it was a revelation. I didn't know that a woman could be so high in sensitivity. She wakes up at 5 a.m. to catch her flight. She told me that she doesn't mind missing her plane. If I just ask her, she will stay with me for the day and maybe through the weekend. You don't have to do that, I responded. You don't know me. I still have the problem of my wife's affair to solve, and you must have someone waiting for you at home. She responded that nobody is waiting for her. She is divorced. She continued saying that the business meeting was a success. Her company has signed a major agreement with my wife's company. She was probably out celebrating with her coworkers, and you know how those celebrations end. Anyway, if she didn't reach out this morning, she is definitely cheating and wants to use the remaining days to explore things with her lover. I was devastated, but responded that I still need to know for sure. She jumped on me saying that at least I can give her another round. You're going to miss your plane, I said between 2 kisses. She didn't respond and we just went at it again. We were sleeping when my phone vibrated at 7:15 a.m. It was Helen, my wife. I get up to take the call in the bathroom. Hi, Helen, I answered with a pathetic voice. Sorry, my love. You were still sleeping, she said. I was missing you and couldn't wait any longer to hear your voice. We made some small talk. She said that the deal was sealed by the end of the day, and she went to a fancy restaurant to celebrate with her team. But they finished early, and she just went to bed at 9:30 p.m. She said that she missed me. She wanted to come to Zurich. She didn't have anything to do since our return flight on Sunday. I told her that there is no need to waste a flight ticket. I will come back. When? She inquired. Soon I will call you, I responded and ended the call. What will you do? Bella asked me. This thing had been going long enough. She better have some answers, or I will end this marriage. I have never been unfaithful in my life. Do you regret having been with me? She cut me. No regret at all. I will cherish this memory, but I'm not a cheating husband. It's just not me. I was with you because I was already signing off on my marriage in response to her behavior. I will tell her the truth. Bella left to go to her room to take a shower before leaving for the airport. We exchanged numbers and she told me to call her if my marriage collapses or if I'm in need of some activity. I responded that it is unlikely with her living in the UK and me in the US. She responded that the UK was temporary. She would gladly go back to the state to be with someone like me. Come on, Bella, stop teasing me. I was looking at her not knowing what else to say. She laughed. John, you are sweet and priceless. You really don't know your value, do you? Look at you. You have the body of a guy in his 20th. You are handsome and have a great career. You are a genuine good guy, and you're great in bed. You are so generous. Do you know that most guys only pump and don't care about the woman's pleasure? If your wife doesn't appreciate what she has, I will be more than happy to change places with her. Call me, and I will find a way to be with you. By the way, I am 53. With that, she left. It was a real boost to my self-esteem to hear that, but I cannot shake the feeling of being now tainted. Sure, I use protection, but just thinking of all Bella lovers pumping in her before me just makes me feel uncomfortable. I shook that feeling. It was time to confront Helen. I took a shower and put on fresh clothes and started some verification before going to Helen. The phone location confirmed what she told me. She left the hotel around 5 p.m. and arrived at the restaurant 30 minutes later. Left the restaurant at 9 p.m. and went straight to the hotel. Impossible to know where she was exactly in the hotel, so I logged into her computer camera through the security app. I retrieved the footage from yesterday. I saw me and my wife leaving for breakfast in the morning. Room service came after to do the room and myself to take my things for my Zurich trip. After that, nobody entered the room, just my wife alone at 10 p.m. The guilt was eating me. She had done nothing, and I had betrayed her. I was disappointed in myself, ashamed and sad. Then I remembered why I am here. I remembered her changed behavior after her promotion, her new wardrobe, her new car, her distancing me emotionally. No, it had to end now. She must give me all the answers to my questions. I went to our room and knocked on the door. Helen opened, and her face lit up with a smile. She hugged me and kissed me. "You are here already," she said, genuinely happy. "How? It's only 9:15 a.m. "I was not in Zurich, Helen," I responded. "I was here all the time, spying on you." I told her everything about the last 6 months, about how she changed after being promoted as VP, her new car, jewelry, makeup, etc., and her attitude. She distanced herself from me. She didn't have any connection with me anymore, and I know she had an emotional affair at minimum with Paul. "Paul," she asked. "Yes, Paul, and don't deny it. I know you better than you know yourself. You can't hide anything from me." We talked and talked for hours. The conversation was tense. No crying, no yelling, just facts and honest responses. She admitted that she had a crush on Paul. She rationalized it by saying that he is a lot like me, and that's what makes him attractive. But she was adamant that there is nothing between them. No emotional affair, not even friendship. She said that she may be tempted from time to time, but it is only a passing thing. She does not feel temptation all day. Then, "Why did you change?" I inquired. "Why did you dress better, put on more makeup? Why did you distance yourself from me? Tell me why. Is it to jump on a new relationship with Paul? You certainly don't dress up for me that way. Tell me the truth. Is it for Paul?" She had tears in her eyes. She told me that she was not aware of most of the changes in her that I noticed. She wants to improve her looks for her new role as a VP, not to seduce a new man. She needed a new challenge in life because our jobs as parents are done. But she loves me, always has, and will never betray me. We were crying on each other's harm and made love. We decided to work on our marriage, make it our priority, and rekindle our love. We take the remaining days on a romantic escapade. We were deeply in love. The perfect couple again. Everything was back to normal. The only cloud in the perfect sky was that I didn't tell her anything about my one-night stand with Bella. I intended to ask for the truth and tell her the truth, but I was sure that she was cheating. Now I know she didn't cheat. I'm sure she had some sort of feeling for Paul. I don't know if it's attraction, connection, or something, but she didn't act on it. Yet. I didn't find anything on the recorder or the camera of the laptop. I monitored her for 2 months with her phone tracker and the hidden camera at home and found nothing. I really feel like crap. I was the cheater, not her. I wanted to redeem myself, make it up to her, to give her all I got. And it worked. We reconnected and were dating twice a week. She was back to her old self, calm and loving. Our old communication was there. Our bond was reforming. But 5 months later, everything shifted again. She went back to her selfish self. She was distracted, not having interest in our life, looking down or sad all the time, not noticing my effort to reach her or to talk to her. After 2 or 3 weeks of this treatment, she sat me in the living room and blindsided me with a demand. She told me that Paul is leaving for another city next week. They have a farewell party for him, and she wants to have a free pass to be with him that night. I was ready to explode, but she said to let her finish. She assured me that they haven't done anything, have no emotional affair, and were just friends, but they have a strong connection, and she wants to explore that. She said again that he is leaving, and she will never see him again. So if she doesn't do it now, she's afraid to regret it later. You must be out of your freaking mind if you think that I will be okay with that, I shouted. I knew that Paul was a piece of crap. I just asked for one night, she responded. I need this. I need to get this out of my system. Afterwards, we can live happily like we always did. We were not happy for the past year or so. Your behavior since you became VP had poisoned our marriage. I was the one to keeping us together. I was the one making all the heavy lifting in this marriage. We went on with the shouting match for a good 15 minutes. Then I stormed out of the living room and went to one of the spare bedrooms to sleep. I didn't sleep much. I was in a cold rage. I got up early, made coffee, and started to make an omelet. She came quietly, we ate in silence, and I finally said that I will not be allowing her to F another man. I tried to control my voice, but I can tell that it probably sounded louder than I wanted. I continued lower this time with, I'm not going to put up with any of your crap anymore. She immediately apologized and said that she should never have asked me that, to just forget and move on. Say that again, I responded. She answered a little bit agitated, that it was disrespectful of her to have asked me that, and she should not have. Say that another time, I shouted this time. She was panicking now. What do you want me to tell you? I have said that I'm sorry to have hurt you, to have disrespected you. What else do you want me to tell you? You did not say that you will not do it, I said with a low voice. You said that you apologized for asking, so say it now, that you will not do it. She responded a little quickly that of course she will not do it. I just get up and leave the kitchen. I knew she was lying. There is no way she would have changed her mind so fast. The next week was a nightmare for me. She was extra attentive, finished work earlier and tried to be more affectionate. I didn't give in. She cooked more elaborate meals and was nicer also. It is pathetic. How come my wife thinks that it will work and that I would not be able to see the motivation hiding behind her improved behavior? Still nothing on all the monitoring devices. It seems she did not have started anything, or she is way better at hiding than what I have given her credit for. I know that I was a little asterisk hole for doing this, but I didn't want to be the cuckolded husband. If she cheats, I will cheat also. And if she was going to do it the next Friday, I would do it before her. So, I did it with a female coworker that week. We were always training before work, almost every day. We were not training together, but we were teasing each other, everyone, and were very flirty. She was very beautiful and a lot younger than me, probably 35, so it was a real boost to my ego. Anyway, we exited the gym discreetly, easier said than done since it is my work's gym, and we went to a nearby hotel. We get back in about 2 hours. Nobody noticed, no evidence that anything happened. The next Friday was the day of the farewell party. She was almost ready to go. I was already prepared. My Mustang was in a friend's garage, and some of my things were in boxes in my Highlander. I was sitting on the sofa, looking pathetic, just waiting for her to leave. She passed by me and looked at me before leaving. For a fraction of a second, she was uncertain, and she assured me that everything is all right and nothing's going to happen. Then she left. The moment her car left, I went to our room to pack my clothes. Only 3 boxes and 2 suitcases. I put them in the Highlander and sat on the sofa and waited. I want to see her face when I tell her that I was leaving. Around 10 p.m., I was still sitting in the dark on the sofa when I heard her car stopping in the driveway. I should have parked in the street. It will be harder to leave rapidly after our showdown. I turned off the TV and braced myself for the confrontation. She opened the door and literally ran inside searching for me. She saw me on the couch and shouted, crying, "I didn't do it, darling. I didn't do anything." She held me as tight as she could. We were sobbing silently. I was ready for a fight, but it was my old wife that came back to me, not my enemy. That's when I saw a man at the door. It was Paul. He immediately put his 2 hands up, saying that he is not here for a confrontation, but for appeasement and honesty. He told me that he is in a lot of pain due to him divorcing his wife. She was cheating on him, and for him, cheating on a spouse is the worst betrayal someone can do. So, he will never do that to another man. He will never envision a relationship with a married woman or an engaged one. He added that he and my wife share a deep friendship connection, but nothing more. No emotional or physical involvement, just friendship and respect. He continues telling us that we don't see many couples like us these days. We are lucky to have a great marriage and are more privileged to still have love in the marriage for so long. We should put all our effort to continue to make it work, make it grow, and make it flourish. I guess the guy was not such a piece of crap as I believed. In other circumstances, he could have been a friend, but he doesn't look like me, like my wife told me. He is 5'11", a runner body, dark hair with no traces of gray. I am 6'1", lean and muscular, with gray hair. I used to be blonde. We are more like Loki and Thor. After he left me, and Helen had a big open heart and honest conversation, we decided to work on our couple and never let us drift apart, especially for work-related topics. We were in love again, made time for each other, and were happy. But again, I was not 100% transparent with her. I didn't say anything about being unfaithful. Sure, in my mind, it was not planned, more revenge cheating than actual cheating, but she never physically cheated. So, in reality, it was a preventive strike, but the initial strike did not append. So, I didn't say a thing. Because I feel responsible for my multiple infidelities, I did not want to inflict pain on my wife with the revelation, and I didn't want to risk ruining our second chance. So, for a time, we were on cloud nine, but the trust I had for her was shattered. I loved her, but I was always watching her, expecting something bad. You see, she had some kind of connection with another man for more than 1 year and not once. In that time did she come clean to me on that, or came to me for support. I don't know if I can get over the fact that she had a secret desire for another man for so long. Yes, she did not go physical, I think, but she could have. It was more because she was after a good man, not a Chad. I feel that at any point now, the other shoes can drop. Why did I stay if I was thinking that you would surely ask? Well, maybe because I want to enjoy every last bit of happiness in my marriage before it ends. Also, when she had her midlife crisis, I was preparing for the life after her. So I began to notice the other women, and I found that even in my 50th, I have a lot of value for the women, even the younger one. In short, it is hard to put the genie back in the bottle. I knew that I could do well without her, and I was waiting for her to split up another time. That's the perfect recipe for disaster, and disaster eventually happens. I will not lie, shortly after our reconnection, I was happier than I have been in the last year, but every now and then, I was triggered by something. I was beginning to question my marriage. If we will endure, when will we drive into the same issue, etc.? That's when I was unfaithful for the third time, again with a coworker at the gym, a logistics supervisor. I work with her a lot, but I am not her boss. Still, it was highly inappropriate. She was hitting on me and I told myself, why not? She was 47 and was married. I could have been in a lot of trouble for that. Fortunately, she only wants quick sex, not a relationship. No need to find excuses now. I was the cheater. The first two flings were because she was unfaithful, at least emotionally, but this third fling sealed my way of thinking about myself. I was the unfaithful one. After that, I feel like crap. I put a lot of effort into our relationship and try to forget about all the crap and start fresh. I was happy with her for more than 1 year after that, and then the doubt returned. Every time she had to work late or didn't come home at the time she said she would. Every phone call after 7 p.m. Every time she went to work early. I had no trust in her. At the annual Zurich trip, I had 2 more flings. 2 women were flirting with me, one about my age and one a lot younger. I flirted back and ended up in the older one bed. The next day, the younger one came to me with a renewed conviction, and I ended up in her bed also. I cannot say it was not planned. I have seen that coming, but went along with it. For me, my marriage was on life support. One day I was in love, and the next I wanted to end it all. I have decided that this time, it is enough. It's better to let go. I will not get over her emotional affair, and I am becoming a scumbag. I couldn't end things on my return, unfortunately. She put on a surprise party with our families, friends, children, and also some neighbors. It was a garden party with more than 50 people. It was not for an occasion in particular. She only wanted us to be happy like before. Our love rekindled again. We reconnected. I didn't have the heart to spoil the moment, and for a long time, everything was perfect. I had no more doubt, was rebuilding the trust, and had no need to search intimacy elsewhere. And then Bella came back. She phoned me during the day on my work phone, said that she had moved back to the States, and asked if we could have lunch and catch up. I met her the same day, during lunch, at a restaurant not far from work. We drank wine, reconnected, and ended up in her hotel suite. I was just out of the shower and was putting my clothes back on when she got serious and told me she needed to say something to me. She didn't lose any time. She said that it had been almost 2 years since our one-night stand, but she never stopped thinking about me. I responded that my marriage is now on track and that Helen had never physically cheated. She responded that I should not believe that. She had seen how my wife was looking at Paul, and she knew, at the time, there was something between those two. I told her that I still loved my wife and wanted to give my marriage a chance. "And that's why you're with me today," she responded, "to give your marriage a chance, to show me that you still love your wife." "Things are complicated," I responded. "I have trust issues, and I confess that I have awakened the wolf within me." "This doesn't make sense. A wolf had only one female during his life," she responded. "Okay, not the wolf, the animal in me then. She said that I'm the man of her life. She wanted us to be in an exclusive relationship and insisted that I leave my wife. I told her that I like her a lot, but more like a kindred spirit or a friend. We left on good terms, or so I thought, and went back to work. After work, I went straight home. I opened the door and stepped into a battle zone. My wife had trashed everything. There was shattered glass all over the place, holes on the walls, pictures smashed. I was thinking that we were robbed and rushed into the kitchen. There I found my wife sitting on the floor in the middle of the same kind of destruction I found in the living room. My first instinct was to rush to her to see if she was hurt, but when she saw me, she got up with the golf club in her hand. She was yelling and ran toward me with the golf club and was about to swing it to my head. I was not about to become another Tiger Wood. I did not let her hit me. I grabbed her fists and snatched the club out of her hand. She then started to pound in my chest with her fists, yelling and crying at the same time, calling me a cheater and liar. When she calmed down, she told me that she received a call from my girlfriend saying that she just had sex with me. She continued saying that it was not the first time that we had sex and that I was unfaithful multiple times. Well, it seems that Bella snitched on me. After that, we sat in the middle of our garbage and talked for hours. I told her everything, not missing something this time. I told her that I started to cheat in retaliation for her affair with Paul. She told me that she never had an affair, just a little crush. I responded that it is her version of things, and I will never have any proof now. That's when she went to our room and came back with her old tablet to show me as proof the post she had made to True Story 3 years ago. And here I am now. It had been a month and she's a mess. She cried herself to sleep every night, got up, put on a brave face, and went to work. As soon as she entered the house, she started to cry. One moment she hated me, another she loved me. One moment she wanted us to end things, the other she said that we could fix anything. She didn't want me to sleep in one of the children's old rooms. She clutched at me all night on the marital bed. She initiates sex every other day, is more aggressive, and tries to be more passionate. And after intimacy, she cries again. I feel like a piece of crap. I have destroyed her. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if we can survive this. I don't know if she will ever forgive me. I will not leave her now. I'm sure she will terminate herself if I do. And you know what the funny part about all this crap? We were still deeply in love during all this ordeal. We were not able to communicate and ended up hurting each other. True love can fail.
Wow. Hey, man. Yes, I did originally get your wife's story. I got it. So last year, she sent an update. But she had told me in the email. Actually, I'll read it right now. It said, what was it? So November of 2024, she said, "Hello, True Story. About 2 years ago, I sent you my story. I don't think you ever read it," which I didn't. It had no real infidelity. Yeah. So 2 years ago from 2024. So in 2022, she had sent me this story. But when she sent me this update last year, I had remembered seeing her email, and I said, "Okay, let me go ahead and put this out." I put it out, but I don't remember what I titled it. I didn't title it "There is Still Some Good Men Out There." I didn't title it that. I titled it something else. So I can't find it either. But let's hear her side of the story too. I'll go ahead and add it here.
Hello, True Story. About 2 years ago, I sent you my story. I don't think you ever read it. It had no real infidelity, only featured a regular woman facing temptation. It was basically for me, not necessarily for publication, but it could inspire hope to people facing similar problems. Last week, I found my original post on my old tablet and decided to post an update. Spoiler alert, it is a less happy ending than the original, but I won't tell more. For convenience, I will repeat the original post below before doing the update. Original post. I'm 53 female. My husband is 56 male. We have been married for 28 years and have 2 boys of 26 and 23 and a girl of 19. I can honestly say that our life is better than most. My husband is an accountant, director of a big company with a 6-figure salary, and me the VP of conformity of a medium pharmaceutical firm. I make about twice as much as my husband. Finance was never a problem in our marriage, and we are deeply in love and are perfectly compatible sexually. We have great kids, a beautiful house. Our sex life was always high, from 4 to 6 times per week in the first years of our relationship to 2 or 3 times today. So, what is the problem, you may ask? The problem was me. I was going through some kind of identity or midlife crisis. You see, the house is fully paid for. Our 2 sons don't live with us anymore. Each is in a serious relationship, and my little girl has just left for college. Technically, she still lives with us, at least 1 weekend a month. We worked hard to give our kid a good start in life. We made sure that neither of them has a student loan after college. Yes, our life is great, but, well, I had a feeling lately that my work was done and that I am not needed anymore. 2 years ago, when I was promoted as VP, there was another that was promoted with me, a VP quality and R&D. We will call him Paul, a brilliant man, 2 PhDs. He was athletic had a deep voice, great personality, and was a good leader. He never had to raise his voice and commanded respect. The moment I was introduced to him, I was beginning to fall for him. In fact, every woman was falling for him, but he was always professional and kind of distant with women. We were thinking that he might be homosexual until we saw his wife. You see, I am a good-looking woman, working out with my husband 4 times a week, just to keep in shape. I don't look up to any woman, but his wife was in another league. She was like a supermodel. The day she came to the office, she introduced herself to everybody and made sure that every woman knew her, adding a little touch to her husband's desk with some of her pictures. Men don't seem to notice the pattern, but for all women, it was clear she was evaluating the competition and wanted to make it very clear that her husband is her property. I know because I have done that with my husband and still do it from time to time. For the next 6 months, I worked with Paul on most of the main projects of the company. Conformity and quality are very close in the pharmaceutical industry, so we had to work very often together. We had a fantastic chemistry, we worked well and got a tremendous amount of work done. It was partially due to the fact that I want to impress Paul, and partially because I wanted to be around him a little longer. I still had a crush on him and tried to flirt a little. He was warmer and more responded to a bit of flirting, but he made sure it never went far. One day on a business trip, we were celebrating a big success. We have closed the deal with a foreign company on the first day of a trip scheduled for 5. It was a multi-million-dollar deal, done in a record time. Me and Paul were the primary owners of this success. All the leadership team were celebrating at a 5 stars restaurant, and the CEO offered a big bonus for all the team. When we got back to our hotel, the CEO took me and Paul apart to the bar and gave us the rest of the week as vacation, saying that we'd take time to celebrate and relax with our loved one, and then he left us. Paul and I were alone at the bar of the hotel, still excited by our success. Paul was talking about the deal, remembering every detail, but I was more excited to be far from home with him. There was my chance. When he finally stops talking, I look in his eyes and spoke. "I love you, Paul." He was silent for a moment, just for a couple of seconds. I was beginning to regret my attempt when Paul responded. "I love you too, but I have a wife and you have a husband." He then gave me a kiss on the forehead and left. After that, we were still working together and were very professional. We never brought this up, but occasionally we would share a look. No words, but we can tell the connection was still there, not very far. 4 months after our business trip, about 1 year after we had started as VPs, Paul was divorcing his wife. He was still the same man, but we can see that he was deeply hurt. I must confess that I was ready to jump into his arms, but I decided that it is better not to rush things and give him time and space to heal. A month later, we heard that Paul asked to be transferred to another city. He said that he doesn't want to live in the same city as his ex and needs a fresh start. It was then decided to plan a farewell party for him in 4 weeks. 1 week before the party, I asked my husband to sit down with me a bit. I told him about Paul leaving, about our connection. I assured him that we had never done anything, no emotional affair, not even a kiss, nothing. We just are well connected, and I want a free pass to be with him before he leaves. I will not see him after, but if I don't do it with him, I'm afraid to regret it later. My husband didn't take it well. He was mad. He tried to reason with me. He was hurt and sad, and finally went to sleep in one of the spare bedrooms. In the morning, he was waiting for me in the kitchen. He had made breakfast. We ate in silence, and then he said that he understands my feeling, but I have to understand his. He cannot give me permission to F another man, even if it's one time only. I told him that I understand that it was a bad idea and to forget about it. "Wow, that was fast," my husband replied. "You certainly are not telling me what you really think." "It's okay," I responded. I had time to think about that, and it was really a dumb idea. The week that followed was the longest of my life. I still had the intention to get physical with Paul, but I have decided not to tell my husband. I can tell that he was watching me and evaluating every situation to see if there was some potential cheating. I was more present in the house, no overtime, texting my husband often to let him know everything is okay, and even had lunch with him twice during the week. The day of the party, my husband was quiet while I was preparing. I talked to him a little bit, told him that it's okay, that nothing gonna happen, but he remains quiet. It was clear that he didn't believe me. When I was about to leave, he gave me that sad, imploring look to tell me not to go. I went anyway. The party was very emotional. Paul was appreciated by everybody, and we all know why he asked to be transferred. Everybody left around 10 p.m., and I was alone with Paul. I told him about our connection and about him leaving. I told him that now that he doesn't have a wife, we could explore our feelings before he leaves for good. He responded that I still have a husband. He added that I have built something great with him over the years, that I have children, a house, and a deep love for my husband. He told me that he could not give me more than a couple of hours of trill, and that I should not destroy all that I have built for over 2 decades just for that. He continues by explaining that what we feel is a spark of love, not the real love. Like when you start a fire with paper, the flame starts fast, but the warmth comes only when the fire gets to the big log. I was in tears listening to him. He was so right. I was willing to throw everything away to be with him for the night. I may have damaged my marriage already, I told him. My husband is at home waiting for me. Come, we will take you to your husband, Paul said. We left immediately for my house. I took Paul with me in my car. He was leaving in the morning and had already sold his car. I opened my door. My husband was on the couch. I can see that he was crying. That really struck me in the heart. How come I didn't see his suffering before? I began to cry, saying, I didn't do it, darling. I didn't do a thing. We rushed on each other's arms immediately. We were both crying and sobbing, but it was pure joy. Then my husband noticed Paul at the door. Paul introduced himself, saying to my husband that he is newly divorced. His wife was cheating on him. He said that he was still copying with that, and that he will never inflict this kind of pain to another man. For him, cheating on a spouse is the worst kind of betrayal, and he will never be responsible for that. He added that me and him share a deep friendship connection, but nothing more. No emotional or physical involvement, just friendship and respect. He continues telling us of the great marriage we got, that we should continue to make it work, make it grow, and make it flourish. He left telling us that he will find an Uber or taxi. He refused to let us drive him back, saying we must have important things to discuss. It's been a year now, and after that, my marriage improved 10 times. We were both conscious that we almost lost the other. We fell again in love like when we met for the first time. We now take time for each other. We don't hesitate to take the plane to Jamaica or a weekend to LA just for shopping. We have lunch together 1 or 2 times a week and go on a date at least once a week. We are still parents, but our boys and daughter are adults and don't need us on a regular basis. We are still young and we are making good money. We might as well enjoy life more. I am happy beyond what I was dreaming when I had my identity crisis. Thinking that I almost destroyed this made me sick. I cannot thank Paul enough. If he was not a man of high principle, he could easily have me during the time we were working together. I cannot see how his wife was able to cheat on someone like him. I just wish him the best. Forget about the last thing I have said. I was myself one of those who were willing to cheat on a perfect husband. I cannot put any blame on Paul's ex-wife. I was walking the same path. I just had the chance to be after a good man. Like I said, True, there is still some good man. Epilogue, update 1.5 years later. We are still doing great in love and truly in our second honeymoon phase, but I can feel that our love is a little tainted. It is just some little things. My husband is more careful about potential clues and asks more questions. He is always sweet and does things in a respectable manner, not letting me feel that he doesn't trust me, but I have noticed the difference. Now he asks for precision if I have to work late. Phone back 10 minutes after on my work phone, probably to confirm that I am at work. He always does that in a normal, joyful tone, asking for some trivial thing or just making conversation, but I can tell it was to check on me. Also, he doesn't keep a regular schedule now. He can finish early or come back home 1 hour after leaving in the morning, saying he forgot something. Trying to be less predictable, I bet, to make it harder to potentially cheat. Don't get me wrong, I love him, and I'm happy. We are taking weekend getaways, dates, etc. I am just sad that we don't have that blind and unconditional trust we had before. Our love was pure, unconditional, and almost naive. Now I feel like my husband loves me a little bit less than before. He still loves me, but I can sense that it is not freely giving anymore. He is willing to take all the steps to improve our relationship, but only after he is certain that I will do likewise. It is like he restrains himself from falling too deeply in love with me again. Well, I have lost a small part of him due to my midlife temptation. We have reclaimed most lost parts of our life and marriage. We may look stronger, but as a couple, even if there was no infidelity, we have taken some damage.